go. Now, you suddenly notice there's a button labeled surprise. You push that, and here we are.
So, if you awaken from this illusion, and you understand that black implies white, self implies other, life implies death, or shall I say, death implies life, you can feel yourself not as a stranger in the world, not as something here on probation, not as something that has arrived here by fluke, but you can begin to feel your own existence as absolutely fundamental. What you are basically, deep, deep down, far, far in, is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time, or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would, naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure you could conceive. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that's pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control, where something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? Then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. Finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have, playing that you weren't God. Because the whole nature of the Godhead, according to this idea, is to play that he's not. So in this idea then, everybody is fundamentally the ultimate reality, not God in a politically kingly sense, but God in the sense of being the self, the deep down basic whatever there is. And you're all that, only you're pretending you're not.
This morning I was discussing the joke of death. And it's going... blip, 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 blip.
a quick conclusion origin slice. Essentially, you start here for a relevant conclusion. I've been trying to learn how do I depict, how do I illustrate what's meant by creativity habits or creative lifestyle. How do I correctly represent that for the behalf of my well-being? How does any of us represent the way of life which maintains our well-being, our centered groundedness? So in that question exists the important particle, which is this: if I do not do these actions in the sequence which maintains my clarity, my self presence, my presence decreases, essentially. I'm afflicted in some sense. And at that point, it's dumb, because I want to experience the real me. Like, where's the real self? Where's the real me? That's the one I want to experience. That's the one I want others to experience. What is the real you? Is the question koan sense here. So the real you is the one that's accessed with your spontaneous creativity, with your grounded peace self. You can't force it to happen through any means. It will only come forth as an accidental motion which you contain. So I've learned my creative spells, essentially, my creative habituations that allow me to hold that, the one that's inhabiting peace. That's the real you, the one within the peace, the one through which you can see and be seen. You can do gazing and you can behold. Each process would necessarily vary from person to person, because each one of us has an object that is an action. The object is revealed by the action. And the real you, truth, only actually comes to be experience, XP, as you, through others, through the exchange of our information, get contexts on the objects each of us contain. During the transfer, during the interaction, is when we gain that insight, when we behold what exactly is this object, what's yours, what's mine, how is our two objects channeling through each other. But you can't do that if you don't take the actions which ground you in the peace, in the state that's formative. So it's very, very strange how the shipwreck condition is often, it's like the ultra version of the shower thought. It's like, yeah, to stop everything you were doing, just because you're literally stuck right where you are in that shipwreck, and there literally is no other choice. It's somehow mystically capable as a grounding place. It contains the same exact energy as crafting in a voluntary meditation action sense, the act of doing this imagination process and actions, choreography, everything, all the expressions of your heart. That is your peace manifested, the real you, self, which is a privilege to know and behold, and which is the one I want others to know of me. I don't want them to be subjected to the me that's suffocating for peace and not getting it. That one needs the solitude to come back to the real you peace. And at that moment, that real you space, it begins to be very apparent how that real you feels about people. The feelings are so immense. but you can't really look at them or use them. You can't get the feeling off your shelf where it's just it's incorrectly used. It shouldn't be gathering dust on the shelf. You have this feeling, but you can only make use of it by buffering out the fear particles, get out of them, and access that real you piece and interact it with others to actually share your real truth. If not, you're just suffocating yourself.
or something like that. I mean, none of it works. It's all phony. Because this thing can only come in the process of growth. That it becomes perfectly obvious that that's the whole point of the universe. Incredible. I mean, it's all there. Infinity in the grain of sand and everything. But that's it. And you look at other people rushing around, people in the eyes wildly searching, and people going about their business every day, serious. I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna make. They're quite mad. You feel sorry for them. You don't feel angry at them, but they're quite mad. They don't realize that now is it. That's where it's all going, as well as where it all comes from. Now is now. And the whole surround of us is completely magic. Now, of course, we become aware that imaginative people are conscious of this. Imaginative people show their consciousness of it. You begin to notice that there are some certain people with whom you either have great accord or great fear because they're not ordinary, because they have an atmosphere of magic. They have imagination, and they're not hiding under an attempt to conform to the ideal of being ordinary. And the artistic people are here. There are also people you can call relaxed people, relaxed society. There's a very wonderful class of people. Time, and you flamer, know what I mean? But and there are people like that too, you see. And all these are the great spontaneous virtues. See, or something like that. I mean, none of it works. It's all phony. Because this thing can only come in the process of growth. That now is it. That's where it's all going, as well as where it all comes from. Now is now. And or something like that. I mean, none of it works. It's all phony. Because this thing can only come in the process of growth. So you say, well, do I have to wait? But the whole thing is in the waiting. I don't mean the virtue of patience. I mean waiting when there is nothing to do but wait. And And when you see there is nothing to do but wait, then it happens. But it won't be hurried. Because the minute you're trying to hurry it, that introduces the one thing that stops it. The miracle, the magic thing is happening all the time. But you can't see it when you're trying to get it. And you can still less see it when you're trying to get it fast. So there is no alternative but to go through the point of you can't get it at all. You are going to be you. The same slob you've always been. See? You can't change it. And all your good resolutions are just bombast. And then you start to be real. So just as in traveling or in ordinary relations with your friends every day, these gorgeous things happen of themselves. Those are the true pleasures. So at the level of mystical experience, the most astounding insights of, where you can go into the deep, most trivial everyday affairs. This is behind all those Zen stories of the monk who was sweeping the courtyard and a small piece of broken tile zipped out from under his broom and struck against a bamboo and made a plop. And that sound he suddenly saw as containing the entire secret of the universe. One can do it from anything. As I say, it could be the ashes in the ashtray. It could be light in a dewdrop. It could be the sound of a bell. Any point becomes the takeoff point, because there's a principle in operation which the Japanese call Jiji Muge. Now the word ji means any experience which you could identify as a thing or an event. So, and the doubling of the word jiji means between thing-event and thing-event. Muge, mu means no, ge means barrier or obstruction. Or put it in another way, everything event implies all the others. And here, in this way, you begin to see that that is actually so. When you pick up a chain, you pick up one link and the rest comes. In this, you pick up one thing event and the universe comes up with it. Because you see, there are no separate things. It's all a single unified process, no longer divided into the voluntary and the involuntary, the I and the you, or the I and the it. Because it is the big happening, which is neither voluntary nor involuntary, which is neither free nor determined. All these are mere ideas about it and about. You've abandoned all that. You've abandoned philosophy totally. Because you see it's just a net designed for catching water. And when all that's gone and that whole attempt to clutch life, to capture the pleasure, has disintegrated, there it is. And you needn't feel anxious about, will it stay? It's a gorgeous thing to feel you've no longer got to worry whether it will stick around. Because you know that if you do worry, you'll shoo it away. So it's a tremendous relief, you see, not to have to bother with, will it stick around? Will I lose my insight? Will my Satori take wing and go off with the bats? You just forget it. Because the more you let go of it, the more it stays. And you don't even have to worry about, will you be sure to let go of it? Because that too is a hang-up. And you can begin, you see, from your very weakness. That's your strength. It's not your big ego and your big will that is the strong thing here. It's your slobbiness, it's your weakness, it's your foolish side that is your strong suit here. See? Yoko Daishi puts it in this way. You cannot take hold of it. You cannot get rid of it. In not being able to get it, let me repeat this, in not being able to get it, you get it. When you are silent, it speaks. When you speak, it is silent. The great gate is wide open and nobody obstructing it.